In my previous class, we learned how to draw the experimental representation that has to do with the verification of second law of electrolysis. In this class, we are going to learn the explanation of how this setup works, how these three voltammeters, silver voltammeter, copper voltammeter, and water voltammeter all combine together in series, how they work in verification or in the verification of second law of electrolysis. So let's see a very close look. You will see that this is silver voltammeter with silver electrodes. The anode is positive, the cathode is negative. All right? Okay, that's for this. Here we have copper voltammeter with copper electrodes. The anode here is positive, the cathode here is negative. And this third one is water voltammeter, in other words, referred to as Hofmann's experiment. We're going to explain all that. So what happens here is that the connection starts with silver anode connected to the key, to the battery, to a rheostat, to an ammeter, and then into the platinum cathode electrode. This is platinum. This thing you see here is platinum cathode electrode. This is also platinum anode electrode. Okay? Both of them are platinum electrodes, but this one is serving as cathode, and this one serves as anode. Okay? So, with that, the cathode of the silver voltammeter is connected to the anode of the copper voltammeter. Also, the cathode of the copper voltammeter is connected to the anode of the Hofmann's experiment, or what we call water voltammeter. That's what the connection is all about. Now we have understood the connection. There is something we must take note of. If you have watched my previous video where I treated only Hofmann's experiments for electrolysis, you would know that this side has to do with oxygen gas, and then this side has to do with hydrogen gas. The ratio of oxygen gas here is 1 and this side is 2. So the ratio of oxygen gas liberated at this point to hydrogen gas is always 1:2. So take note of this, okay? So take notes. So we are not going to discuss that further. Now, what our concern is to understand exactly what happens here. Take notes. Before current is allowed to flow through the system by closing the key or switching on the key, something has to be done. The electrodes, the electrode of silver voltammeter, the electrode of copper voltammeter are weighed initially, washed initially, and then masses are noted. That's the first thing. After that, they are reconnected back to the system, and then this key is turned on or switched on for current to pass through the system. Once current is allowed to pass through the system, the current is maintained for 30 minutes. I repeat, the current is maintained for 30 minutes. Within these 30 minutes, as soon as 30 minutes is completed, the next thing to do is to bring out the cathode, only the cathode of the copper voltammeter and the cathode of the silver voltammeter, wash it with distilled water. Take note, distilled water, wash it. There the two cathode of silver voltammeter and cathode of a copper voltammeter, both are washed, rinsed, okay, dried and reweighed for the second time. Their individual masses are also noted, okay. When that happens, we now begin to compare the two masses. Okay, the mass of the cathode from the silver voltameter and the mass of the cathode from the copper voltameter, we weigh the two masses and then find the difference or try to observe some comparison there. It is observed or it is noted that the masses liberated by cathode of a silver voltameter and cathode of copper voltameter are directly proportional to their chemical equivalents, and that is what the second law is all about. Second law of electrolysis says that masses of different substances liberated during electrolysis are directly proportional to their what? Chemical equivalents. That means N, capital N, is directly proportional to their chemical equivalent Z. Okay, that's what that statement is all about. And this is the explanation that has to do with the verification of second law of electrolysis. That is what this stands for. Okay, so with that explanation, you will now understand what actually happens why we now have different masses of different substances being directly proportional to their what? Chemical equivalents. If that is the case, so to say, if we have mass from cathode of silver voltameter and then mass of cathode from copper voltameter, also we should know that there are activities going on here which has caused some kind of liberation of oxygen gas at this column and then hydrogen gas at that column, giving rise to ratio 1:2. So that is what we need to know. And these things, the mass here and the mass there, they have some amount of a ratio. The oxygen, the hydrogen, silver solution, copper solution, they have some certain amounts of a ratio to which they are connected. So that is exactly what happens here. Alright, if you have any question, put it in the comment section and then don't forget to give me some thumbs up. Put on the bell button for constant notification. Remember to share with your friends, networks and students. Subscribe, come on, subscribe. Alright, see you in my next class because I'll be hanging it somewhere there or linking it up somewhere there for your learning pleasure. Thank you for your patience.